This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. The Fan.
What up, Kevin Falness? At Radio Falness.
You tell me. What is up?
Well, you were kind of struck and taken aback during the break about this Damian Lillard news. And
Floored would be the way I would put it.
The fact, sometimes magic happens and coincidences happen. I didn't know that was going to take place. I'd asked you to come in studio. But I'm glad that you're here so that now you can kind of break down what the Milwaukee Bucks look like moving forward. Brooke Lopez out, Miles Turner in. They re-upped Bobby Portis, Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Fear the deer.
Yeah.
It's never been more true than today. If this doesn't further illustrate fear of the deer, I don't know what does. So, yeah, what a franchise, what a story. That's great news for everybody.
So the Minnesota Wild and, all teams in the National Hockey League, free agency. Happy Free Agency Day.
Yes, thank you.
Kevin Falness. Wake up. It's the first of the month, and some players are going to be cashing some checks, and come on. Well, Vladimir Tarasenko was the news yesterday, so we'll start there, and we'll get into needs in free agency, and of course, just kind of pop through, because the league's been busy, but busy already in the days leading up now to an open period in which, frankly, I feel like we're last in the lunch line right now, man.
Yeah.
And some teams have already gone through and gotten seconds and thirds, and maybe the cupboards might be a little bare by the time we get a chance to put something on the plate. But we'll start with Tarasenko. Red Wings, basically, it sounded like, Tarasenko or Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
One of you has to go.
Yeah.
And they decided that it would be Kane who they kept and put a $3 million deal on him, one of the great North American skaters of all time. Patty Kane, few cups, thorn in our side during his days in Chicago. Well, we bring home a former thorn in the side of the Minnesota Wild by way of St. Louis, Vladimir Tarasenko. Now, he ain't 25 anymore, Mr. Falness. And it's kind of a head-scratching move. Like, what do you make of it? He was traded, by the way, for future considerations. I know there are some out there, including John in St. Paul, you might wish that I was traded for future considerations. But all the same,
the text line.
But all the same, Tarasenko to the Minnesota Wild. Your thoughts on that? Yeah,
you say it's a head-scratching move, but they really didn't give up anything. Like you said, future considerations. It's a 1-year deal, a haircut under $5 million, and you take a flyer on a guy who has some pretty good equity in the National Hockey League, has a pretty good resume. Certainly didn't look the part last year in Detroit. 80 games played, 11 goals scored. It looks like he's lost a ton of speed and, is going to be it's going to be a reclamation project probably.
Okay.
And if he can get reignited here in Minnesota, maybe this will be a great fit for him. We won't know until the season kicks off and watch how he's developed. But I certainly remember the Vladimir Tarasenko of old that used to play for the St. Louis Blues and light the Wild up on a pretty regular basis. So if you can get any form or fashion of that guy, it'd be great. And I think it's worth a flyer. I think it's worth taking a chance on him, see if you can get him reignited. And by the way, you add another Russian into the mix to help lead the way, not only to work with Kirill Kaprizov, but guide the young Danilo Yurov coming into this new season.
Is that what it is then? Is we just need, I don't know if there are 5 or 6 more Russians that are potentially available today, but if we add all of them to the roster, how can Kirill Kaprizov say no?
Yeah, I don't think Alex Ovechkin is available, but Evgeny Malkin might be on the market. Maybe they can swing a deal for a Vasilevsky or a Bobrovsky.
There we go.
There's some great Russians out there, so I think they just need to start beating the bushes and get them out here and bring them to Minnesota and work in conjunction with Kirill Kaprizov, Vladimir Tarasenko, and Danilo Yurov. I think we're onto something.
Is Pavel Datsyuk, is he Russian?
He's very Russian.
But he hasn't
he's very retired.
But he hasn't been in the league for. Can he be an assistant coach? Do we have potential? I mean, that's
he's one of the smartest players to ever put on a pair of skates, and he's one of the most electric players. Yes. I don't know what his game is like these days, but that might not be a terrible idea. Throw him behind the bench.
And was he good on the extra man? Was he good on the power play?
He was good on everything. Pavel Datsyuk is one of the best players ever to put on a pair of skates.
We need help on special teams.
Who would say no to Pavel Datsyuk in a Wild uniform, even if it's just behind the bench? Let's make it happen.
Including number 97, if we're trying to lure him into re-signing a deal.
I think, we're talking about a guy in the realm of an Alex Ovechkin. I mean, he's that type of player, and I think I've never asked Kirill Kaprizov his thoughts on Pavel Datsyuk, but I bet he's in the top tier of all-time guys he looked up to.
So when the Tarasenko news hits, the instant thought for me personally would say that, well, that means something else isn't potentially happening. Yeah. So all jokes about cupboards being bare, last in line at lunch, etc. Maybe that is kind of accurate in regard to if you are bringing in a Tarasenko, that if you had visions of a Besser being here and those of the ilk, that's probably not going to happen.
I think that's the thinking. Without saying it, that's kind of when you read between the lines with Bill Guerin when he addressed the media yesterday about the Tarasenko trade, is that the cost of doing business is going to be too high. This is where dumb deals are made every July 1st. It happens on an annual basis, and he didn't want to fall into that trap. He takes a flyer on a Vladimir Tarasenko rather than overspending and giving 6-7 years at whatever it is. I can't even imagine what Besser's going to get. Nikolai Ehlers is another one. Great players, but if you overpay for them on the front end, you're going to pay for it in a big way on the back end. I don't think they want to get backed into a corner again.
Yeah, you mean like what we just got through?
100%. You don't want to go through this again. Can you think about where this team... I love Brad Marchand, but holy smokes, when that contract ends, he's going to be 43.
Yeah.
Holy smoke. I mean, and that's the type of thing you're trying to avoid. You want to make good business decisions. Don't overspend on July 1st. See what's available. I mean, they're going to make some moves today. They have to. They need a depth center. They need a guy. They need a third goaltender. That's nothing flashy. I don't think is going to happen today, but you're paving the way to keep some salary cap available. And then let's see what transpires in the next 12 months. I know that it sucks to think about being patient because we've been patient for so long, and especially for Wild fans out there, that's the last thing they want to hear. I'm in that same boat. I wanted the flash. I wanted the fireworks. I wanted the July 1st celebration. It just, the more and more, I mean, even in the lead up, talking about it, dampening those thoughts, and now what you have left on the table. I mean, look, I can't imagine on TSN, NHL Network, what they're doing here for their free agent frenzy or free agent frenzy coverage, because there's nothing available. Everyone that you wanted, the Duchesnes, the Tavareses, go right down the list. They're all gone. They've all been signed. They've all been dealt with prior to July 1st. There's not a lot left out there. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't get some guys that are impactful for the Wild in their roster in the upcoming season, but it ain't going to be the flash that I think everyone was hoping for not that long ago. You mentioned Marchand and the Florida Panthers. Part of them being in the spot they're in, however, is that they have the flexibility that we've been dreaming of for years. And you mentioned that deal, and it's a fact. I was kind of surprised by it. I mean, at 37, Marchand indeed will be 43, 44 by the time that deal's over with. Yeah. And he's getting 5 a clip, but they're also a team that I believe they weren't paying anybody on their roster more than $10 million this year. Like they had found, and you look at the cap space in years going forward, they have like $40 or $50 million like next year or 2 years from now. They can actually, and in the end, I think if you're hoisting cups or in the mix for cups at a super high end like they look to be, you can probably say 5 or 6 years from now, yeah, it stinks that we got that 5 hanging out there for Marchand. Oh, by the way, we have 4 trophies in the case. You know what I mean? So part of, so as Wild fans, I think in some ways, and I know it's difficult to do that, to kind of
try to keep the envy out of the conversation because we're just simply not in a position to do what that organization down there with Zito is.
I can't believe they were able to pull it off too.
It's
like coming out of the Stanley Cup, they've got the three-headed monster all going to becoming unrestricted free agents.
Yeah, Bennett and Ekblad. Yep,
Bennett, Ekblad, and Marchand, and you'd be like, they'll be lucky to get. They should get one of them. There's no way they're going to get two. They got all three. I thought for sure Bennett wasn't going anywhere. I didn't think there's any way they'd be able to fit in Marchand, and then they throw in Ekblad as well. I just can't believe they were able to pull that off. And it's Vegas is another one that continues to do it. They add Mitch Marner to their roster. That's ridiculous that a team like that continues to survive and excel under the current situation. But God bless them. Hopefully one day soon the Wild will be in those shoes and they'll be able to just go pick off free agents of the names like a Mitch Marner.
You know what's cool about it is, the Panthers, they got Bennett and they put an 8-year deal on Ekblad and 6 at 5 a clip for Marchand. And Vegas continues to do what they do and they add Mitch Marner. Well, I'm looking at Russo's X account right now.
Yeah.
Someone to watch for?
Yeah.
Nico Sturm.
Again, not the flashiest of names.
You got to get the envy out of there.
And any of those names that the Wild are going to pull today, it's not going to be.
This team.
And I would too. And that's what I'm saying. It won't be the flashiest. It won't be the fireworks. There's no parades that are going to be thrown for signing Nico Sturm. But for a team that needs help killing penalties, needs help at the center ice position, and needs help in their bottom six, Nico Sturm might be the absolute prototypical guy. He didn't feel like he was getting a fair shake here at the end of his tenure here in Minnesota, goes out there and continues to carve a path that ends up being the exact same thing that he was doing here in Minnesota. And I think it would be a welcomed addition back to this. And talk about all-time good guys. Nico Sturm's right up there.
Yeah, and so, the patience associated with this, because we are talking about Nico Sturm types today and not Mitch Marner's.
Yeah.
There is the idea that to get yourself back into that spot, because mentioning the term on some of those deals, you put 8 years and $60 million on a guy and it goes south after year 5.
Yeah.
That's a disaster.
That's the worry.
That's the disaster.
That's
right?
where mistakes are made on days like this.
So in some ways, to not immediately jump in, you want to re-sign 97. So that's kind of like the A, the B, and probably the C topic right now for our favorite team.
Yeah.
But to avoid, and now frankly, there's just not the option of doing that. In some ways, the options have been taken away, but kind of reading through the tea leaves, that this was always going to be kind of the story of this particular free agency period, that it wasn't necessarily going to be this gold mine, and we're all just bidding up everybody here, that it was maybe if we can chill and be a little bit patient, that even this next summer around the corner, that might be a spot to pounce.
Exactly. And maybe things are different if one of those big names were available, like you wanted a John Tavares, even a Matt Duchene, possibly. Oh, Brock Nelson would have been perfect for this team.
I wanted Duchene.
Duchene, I would have rather had Brock Nelson, even a Charlie Coyle. Someone that can provide a little something up the middle, and also it will come with a little bit of a bigger price tag.
Is Nino Niederreiter still available?
I know. Mikhail Granlund is.
Mikhail Granlund.
Bring back Granny.
He had an OT winner for us, didn't he, back in the day?
Oh, sure, against Colorado.
Fall into the ice.
That feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, it's an eternity ago. That was, why it feels like an eternity ago is because those were back in the days when Tarasenko was tearing up the league and tearing up the Minnesota Wild.
Yep.
And now a decade later, he's on our team, Falness.
Yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful thing as the world turns.
The wheel continues to spin, and you just never know. So I like I said, if Nico Sturm is the thing, it's not something that's going to raise the blood pressure, but you need guys like that if you're going to succeed. I mean, he's won 2 cups since leaving here. He won a cup with Colorado. He won a cup with the Florida Panthers just 2 years ago. Nico Sturm is a guy that
well, Tarasenko won with St. Louis before he left, right?
Yes, St. Louis and with Florida
last year.
And Nico Sturm won with Colorado and Florida.
My bad.
So,
but getting back to Vladimir, I'm just take a flyer as you would put it.
Yep.
Maybe, whether it's the Red Wings last year and even the Panthers took a flyer on him 2 years ago, and in the end he was part of a cup winning team, so you can't argue that. He was playing 13 minutes a night in the playoffs for the Panthers. Now they got tidal waves of skill. They got tidal waves of talent. That's why they're where they're at. 3 straight appearances, 2 straight cups, and who knows when that ride's going to end down in South Beach. But to that end, it almost kind of feels like Flyers have been taken. And at this stage, what he adds, and maybe it is, are we filling out rosters at this stage, right? We're working right now potentially to replace a gentleman who's going to be making a cameo here around 11:30 in Freddie Gaudreau. So, and yes, cup winning equity and so you bring that presence into the room. That makes a difference. It kind of surprises me that was what we saw happen yesterday.
A naturally gifted goal scorer in his prime. I haven't watched a lot of Vladimir Tarasenko in the last couple of years. I certainly didn't watch a lot of Detroit Red Wing hockey last year. But who knows? Maybe he regains that spark coming here to Minnesota. Didn't feel like it was a good fit for him in Detroit, obviously, and his numbers show it. But he'll have an opportunity here under John Hines and Bill Guerin to show that he can still fly. And if he can, who knows what it evolves into in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. Who knows? Get through this year and see what he's got left in the tank. And he's not that old. I know he's 33 years old, but maybe an opportunity here to spark something and just, rub elbows with Kirill Kaprizov, get to know Danila Yurov, and maybe this is the spark he needs.
Well, hey, don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be cool. And I'm absolutely going to have completely unreasonable expectations for him right around the corner during the season when I first start getting to see him play in games that count. It's an interesting move.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But I do like, is there an element of this where you could actually rationalize or logically make the case like this does help a Danila Yurov that
it doesn't hurt.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt the Kirill Kaprizov negotiations either. I don't think this is the talking point. Well, look, we added Vladimir Tarasenko. What are you waiting for to sign? I don't think it's quite to that level, but it can't hurt. A little aside note, hey, by the way, this guy's here.
But maybe he's an ambassador, and in some ways he can help lift up Danila a little bit as he makes his way over here.
Yeah, and I think Guerin made a good point, and I think you touched on it earlier too, that he is a guy that's been through the grind of a long, lengthy Stanley Cup playoff run. And not only that, has won it twice, in fact, at the highest level possible. They don't have a lot of guys like that in this locker room. They got Zach Bogosian. That's it. Now you add Vladimir Tarasenko. When you get around to when the bullets are flying and they count, maybe that's something that can help add to the equity as well.
Well, I'm trying hard. That's precisely what I'm doing here, Falness. I'm trying hard to find the sunny side of the whole bit. And maybe our Flyers the one that pays off.
I hope so.
Or maybe there is that mentoring process that takes place. Been through the grind, has some stories to tell. Stories from the lap of Uncle Vlad. And we're going to have that in our dressing room here. Let's do this. Let's pause. There's some other, kind of digging into some of those deals that have already been done. And we will continue to kind of dig into what the Wild might be up to today. But we may get the opportunity around the corner, Kevin, to chat with Freddie Gaudreau, who, of course, member of the Minnesota Wild now. He's out in Seattle with the Kraken. So I believe we're going to get a cameo from Freddie when Kevin Falness and I return. It's Nordo in for PA, 9 to noon, and Kara's got a cash giveaway opportunity.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword bank at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword bank. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. Nordo in for PA. Final hour. And Kevin Falness, Wild Radio Network, in studio with me. And excited to welcome our next guest into the equation here, 9 to noon. Scoring goals like this.
Skating to it, Zuccarello. Ripped it around the end wall. Took a favorable bounce for Johansson. He'll pound it back to the point, Boldy. Boldy shooting one. He scores! Might have been tipped in front. It's a power play goal. And the Wild have tied this game at 2.
Well, you're damn right it was tipped in front, Joe. How about this?
Carlson keeps in the point. Over to Chikrin. Loads. Fires. It was blocked in front. Picking up Gaudreau. Freddie Gaudreau skating ahead with the empty net in front of him from the red line. Oh, fire. And score!
Yes. Oh, how exciting is that?
It was excited. We needed those 2 points, and joining us now, 2 goals in that game back in March. That's Freddie Gaudreau joining 9 to noon. Longtime 4 seasons with the Minnesota Wild. News breaking recently that he's now going to be joining the Seattle Kraken, but he joins Nordo here with you, and Kevin Falness. Good morning. How are you, Freddie?
Hey, guys. Good morning. I'm good. What about you guys?
Hey, thanks for doing this, Freddie. Always good to hear your voice. It's hard to believe that it feels like an end of an era here. You going off to the Seattle Kraken. Before we get into the ins and outs of your time here in Minnesota, what was your reaction when you heard the news that you had been dealt?
Very surprised. Very, very surprised. For sure sad at first. It's all the memories coming up. Those guys in the locker room have been my brothers. They'll always be my brothers. I didn't expect that at all. I've seen myself, every night before going to bed, I've seen myself lifting that cup with those guys. I believed it more than anybody else. And, so of course it was kind of a shock, but from that surprised feeling comes excitement for that new challenge, that new opportunity. That's how I'm seeing it now, is just very grateful for everything that has happened the past 4 years, the people I got to meet, the locker room, the fans, the community, the organization, the family time there. But now, such is life. It brings you to a new chapter, and I'm just gotta embrace it with gratitude, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah, certainly surprising news indeed, Freddie. I'm curious though. You mentioned your brothers and the thinking about being able to win at the highest level with those guys you've gone to work with for nearly half a decade. Have you had that chance to connect with any of those guys on the team and kind of offer those solemn goodbyes and share some good times with each other since the news broke?
I received a message from most of the guys. Yeah. It's, we're used to that stuff. It's everybody knows now, unless it's your first year and, you haven't gone through stuff like that. But, for the guys that have been there a longer time, everybody knows that's just how it goes. You get used to play with guys that you like, and they come and they go, and that's just how it goes. So everybody are used to it, but there's for sure emotions and feelings associated with that. And like I said, most of the guys reached out to express those. So I did talk to a little bit of the guys.
Talking to Freddie Gaudreau, tied for 8th all-time in franchise history in shorthanded goals with 4. Also a shootout specialist. Many great moments on the ice, Freddie. But of your, like Nordo says, half decade here in Minnesota, I'm going to assume one of your highlights was mostly off the ice, dealing with the legend that is Marc-Andre Fleury. I've talked to you about him many, many times. What kind of a thrill was it for an opportunity to get to play alongside him?
Yeah, well, you know what, that trade was weird at first and surprising and sad, but it would have, I'm going to be straight honest here, it would have been even more stingy knowing that Fleury would keep playing. So now that he's not, I feel better about that side. I won't be as FOMO about it, because it's been just such a joy and a pleasure, and I truly hold a lot of gratitude, like I said, for my past 4 years in Mini, but he's also for sure a big part of that. The human being he is, the teammate, the friend. He's one of the first guy that reached out to me, just expressing how he felt for me, knowing those things are not easy. Just showed a lot of empathy for me, and I count him as my brother for sure. I feel extremely, extremely grateful and lucky that I was able to spend the past couple of years with him. He's a tremendous teammate, like I said, human being, everything. Just a family man. So I love Flower. It's been such joy playing with him.
Well, I got to ask you, how is this on a little more lighthearted end of things? How are you so darn good in the shootouts, Freddie? I mean, it's been fantastic having you in our arsenal for the last 4 years. Where I watch you come up in a shootout, I just feel like I know it's happening. I know it's going in. How are you so darn good, man?
I wish I had that same feeling. I don't know. I don't know. It's a confidence thing. If you're able to start the season pretty nicely, then you kind of roll off with that confidence, and then you acquire that same feeling of kind of feeling like you're gonna do it instead of kind of not really knowing. And then I think that confidence most of the time carries in positive results. But something I've had fun with, took pride with the years. Started with Dino. He kind of knew about that facet of me, and right away just put me in, kind of trusted me, and kind of rolled with it after that. And yeah, it's been a fun thing about it.
Your wife is from here, correct?
Yeah, she is.
What part of Minnesota is she from?
Minneapolis area.
So I'm just curious, what was her reaction? Like you say, I mean, you sign up for this, you know it's a business, things are going to happen, and some of them are going to hit you out of the blue. But you're the player. How'd the wife take this?
Yeah, it hasn't been easy for sure. You know, we just got our first baby. He's about 15 months old now, so. You know, we were very aware of the situation we were in, and we knew we were very fortunate to be in that situation, and we understand the hockey business, and we're not stupid. We know that not a lot of people were able to have family year round. So we had her family during the season. We had my family in the off season because we come back in Bromont for the off season. So it was awesome. So when something like that happened, it's kind of that you feel you're losing also, is that all that support from your family. Although they will always support us, they're not as close anymore. So it makes the logistic a little bit more complicated. So of course those realities comes with emotion. But like I said, we're both switching that page and just taking all the gratitude we have from the past years, and just moving on with, like I said, art filled with gratitude, and getting to the next chapter with excitement, and again with gratitude for that those new adventures and opportunities.
Yeah, and the opportunities will be there, Freddie, for you in Seattle. Now, is there anything that you can take from personally? Because at one point you were a new face in the dressing room here in Minnesota. Is there anything that you can take from that experience, trying to endear yourself, create those relationships with your teammates as you now move forward? And you'll be doing the same thing now with the Kraken.
Yeah, there's a lot for sure. I think there's so much you can learn from everybody. You know, the hockey world is it's a cool world in the sense that you get to meet a lot of people from different places and learn from different cultures, different brilliant minds. And that was proven to me so far in my career, and there's a lot to embrace in those new, like I said, adventures, new opportunities, and that's what I'm looking forward to, just to get to know my teammates, create those new bonds, those new relationships. As much as I said, those guys in that locker room for the past 4 years were my brothers. I'm looking to recreate that energy with the all new locker room. That's where I'm at. You know, I want to go at it with a bunch of guys. There's no other better feeling in the world to go get a big win with a bunch of guys that you love, and I'm looking forward to that. Get to know these guys, get to go at it with them. So yeah, just embrace it all. Take those moments as new ways to learn, new ways to discover things about yourself. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The Kraken might not realize it yet, even those guys inside that locker room, but they're lucky to have you, Freddie, that you're going to be a great addition out there in the Pacific Northwest. Before we let you go, I wanted to bring up one thing in particular. You glow when you talk about your relationship with Marc-Andre Fleury, young Felix, your 15-month-old son, but you also glow when you talk about the Down Syndrome Association of Minnesota. Find out more information online, DSAMN.org. You're an active advocate, and a lot of that is because of your nephew and godson, Noah. Tell me about Noah, what makes him so special, and why you are an active voice for the Down Syndrome Association of Minnesota.
Yeah, well, you know what? Noah's 9 years old, and Down syndrome was new to us when he was born. And like everything new, we comes with insecurities, comes with a lot of fears, of course, and from that we kind of learn more about it. We changed our perspectives with time, from fears to gratitude again, just to realize we were lucky to have him in our family, lucky that he chose us in some ways, because I feel like the people with Down syndrome have a special ability to live in their heart, live in the present, to bring everybody else that are surrounding them in their heart. They have such spontaneity to them. Their heart just makes you feel welcome right away. It makes you feel like you're part of their family right away. So from Noah and all the people after that I got the chance to meet, just feel so blessed in some ways for all of them that I got to meet, and for Noah that is in my family. And with Down syndromes and special differences, there also comes realities such as still some challenges with inclusion in some areas of life, whether it's at school or anywhere really. There will always be some things we can work on in order for this world to be more of an inclusive world, and for people to realize that there is so much beauty in everybody's uniqueness, and in learning from everybody's uniqueness. So once I kind of realized that we were still far, getting better, I would say, but still far. It's kind of, even though I'm more of a introvert and I don't really like to be out there, it kind of, when it hits you home and it's in your heart, it kind of sparks something inside that it's kind of your duty to just speak a little bit more about it with the platform that you're in. So it just came to me that it was important for me to just get a little bit more involved. And so we got to meet the Down Syndrome Association of Minnesota people here, mostly the last year, and it was awesome. Just such beautiful people again. The people with Down syndrome, but the people around also that work in the organization, and put all of their heart and soul into creating that more inclusive world. So it home right away. We just wanted to get more involved. We still want to get more involved. We still want to do more, because it's so important. It's so important for many reasons. It's important for the people in this world that have special uniqueness, special differences, but it's important also for people that don't, to open up their heart and realize that they have as much to gain from those people, from learning about those differences and opening up their heart to it. So I would say that's about it, guys.
Yeah, I love hearing. I mean, you can tell you're passionate about the cause, and a lot of that is because of your nephew and godson, Noah. You want more information? Again, Freddie's cause here, Down Syndrome Association of Minnesota. Look them up online, DSAMN.org. Last thing before we let you go, your wife's from here. You've got a home here. I hope your career is another 20 years long, Freddie. But is this your forever home? Are you coming back to Minnesota and the great state of hockey that when you hang them up, maybe 2 decades from now?
I love the 2 decades. I want to stay young. I feel younger and younger. So I like your I like your idea. Truthfully though, I do see myself playing for many, many more years, to be honest. I don't know if it's 10 or 15. Who knows with those things, but Minnesota will always be special. You never know what can happen in life. That's the proof, is you just got to take it a day at a time and kind of dive into those adventure with an open mind and an open heart, and just be excited for it all. But definitely Minnesota is home for me. It's always been home for my wife. Will always be special, and we for sure would consider, or I've considered many times to have this be maybe our main location in the future. So we'll see, but it's in there for sure.
Hey, can't thank you enough, Freddie, for not only the time that you spent the last 4 seasons with the Minnesota Wild and being able to share memories with you as a player, but for the time that you gave Kevin and myself this morning. And we wish you a tremendous transition period to Seattle, and can't wait to watch you on the ice, man.
And you know what? Give that Felix and Noah both a great big hug on behalf of the state of hockey, big boy.
Yeah.
Have fun in Seattle. Take it easy on the Wild when we go head to head.
Thank you, boys. I appreciate your time also, and my door's always open for an interview or anything like that, just so you know.
What a guy.
No,
Thanks, Freddie.
That's awesome. Take care, man.
Thank you, guys.
That's Freddie Gaudreau. All
right, so Nordo, I was thinking about this on my way because I knew this was going to be awesome. Even though he's not a member of the Minnesota Wild, he's moved on to literally greener pastures in the green Seattle Kraken. But I was thinking of all-time good guys in the history of the Minnesota Wild. It's a long list.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the top of the top. Freddie's right there with the likes of Pierre-Marc Bouchard, Nate Prosser. I mean, these are names. When you talk about good, I'm not necessarily talking about their playing ability or anything like that. Just all around, Marc-Andre Fleury's on that list.
Good people.
Just all around great dudes in 25 years of Minnesota Wild hockey. The top of the top, Freddie Gaudreau's right there with it, and I think you can hear it in that interview.
No,
just thoughtful
I love that.
and just a great quote.
It was an awesome idea that you had in saying, hey, I was filling in for Bump on Sunday, doing some sermons work, and tried to get Freddie on then, couldn't work it out. So he, fast forward to today, make a cameo. I hadn't heard his passion and his advocacy for Down syndrome in the past. Love that. And just really rooting for him. So I appreciate you setting that up. But we do have to pause, come back a little shorty.
Oh, we've got some news too, so you better hurry.
We'll put a wrap on this thing. Final segment, Kevin Falness in studio with me, Nordo. It's 9 to noon on the Fan.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
Elevate your 4th this year with $100 to Fireworks Forever. Check out our contest page for your chance to win $100 Fireworks Forever gift card to stock up for the 4th.
I'm clomping on you.
That's KFAN.com keyword contest. Enter today.
Nice job, Pete Bursich.
Oh my goodness. I would complain about that with my guy, and my guy's out, and then I'm doing the same thing. I'm sorry, Kara. Tremendous work today. Really appreciate your help, by the way.
Step on her touchdown call.
And I'm just a complete L, and the program director's in here whining about clock management. I get it. It's a curse of the time slot. But if you want to talk about fireworks, how about this? Russo, 9 minutes ago, Wild are closing in on bringing back free agent Nico Sturm.
Oh, good.
You homer!
But we saw some Brock Besser related news that might surprise some people. What do we got?
7-year deal. He's going to stay in Vancouver. Corey Perry signs in Los Angeles, it looks like. And again, real quick, I know Nico Sturm isn't going to raise your blood pressure around the state of hockey, but you need guys like this. He's going to help up the middle. He's going to help kill penalties. They can't win a face-off to get themselves out of a wet paper bag. He fills all these holes. So I know he's not the glitziest of signings, but it's a big time need for this organization.
Well, how about this? It feels like, we haven't won a face-off since Koivu's second year in the league, it feels like.
Exactly.
Nico Sturm, 5th best in face-offs last year.
He checks a lot of boxes. Like I talked a lot about Brock Nelson. This is Brock Nelson light, and I think he'll do a good job for Minnesota. They're familiar with him, and can't wait to get him back in the state of hockey if indeed that comes to fruition.
So the moves have not been exciting. We know about the Marners. We know about the Matthew Nyes, and we were dream weaving of how they might show up here, and that's not taking place. But Nico Sturm, it sounds like an addition, a useful one, to the Minnesota Wild. And tomorrow, first of all, thanks again for Freddie. That was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for hanging out. And we'll talk about that vacation you're going to embark on here soon this weekend.
Yeah, can't wait.
But enjoy the 4th. And tomorrow, we're going to have Pat Micheletti out of the gates at 9, hockey-heavy conversation. And then Mr. Russo himself joins me at 11. So we'll continue to cover what's going on with our favorite hockey team. Thanks again to Kara. Thank you for listening to The Fan. Have an awesome afternoon. The Grum is next.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.